health and wealth. प्लीज़ लाइक, सब्सक्राइब एंड शेयर ताकि हेल्थ और वेल्थ से जुड़ी हर न्यूज़ आप तक पहुंचे सबसे पहले।
So, now the word markets has been around all these years. The Middle Ages had markets. In fact, whenever, I would even say the agora in ancient Greece, that means the marketplace. In ancient Greece, people would come on a particular day and to sell things. In the Middle Ages, there were market days. The word marketing wasn't there, it was just market. And trade was always there, because trade through history has taken place between people and regions and countries. So all that is there, and it was in the decade of the 1900s that marketing books first appeared. And the interesting thing is, who wrote those first marketing books? Were they sociologists? What was the discipline of the people who wrote the first marketing books? Any guesses? Well, they weren't physicists or chemists. They were economists. So why would economists start a subject called marketing? And the answer is they were disillusioned economists. They couldn't find any mention of advertising in the discourse of economists. In other words, never did Adam Smith, Thomas Malthus, David Ricardo, even Alfred Marshall and so on, they really talked about other forces that shaped demand. The only force that shaped demand in their mind was price. You know the famous curve. Raise the price, demand will go down. Lower the price, you can sell more. Price was the only thing that affected demand. So these economists were institutional economists and said, hey, you got to factor in advertising. You got to factor in retail stores, wholesalers, jobbers, agents. And it was the neglect of the classical economists to not really texture the marketplace and the way an economy worked that led to marketing. So marketing is technically a branch of economics. Now, who helped develop this field of marketing? Now, probably you don't recognize maybe anyone here. There's one person you might recognize. I don't know if you can see some of these faces, but does someone recognize anyone there? Yeah. Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie is here, and his book was How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because in doing this, I wanted to find out who is the exemplar of the selling method, how to win friends and influence people. But let me give you the whole picture. Ernest Dichter, some of you may know of. He was a motivational psychologist, and he could explain why people didn't like to eat prunes, why cigars were offending some people, and all kinds of things. In his book called The Study of Desire, he apparently studied with Sigmund Freud, and he brought that kind of mind to marketing. But he had an opponent named Alfred Politz, who was not a head shrinker. We call him a counter, a nose counter. The expressions we would use, if you were very psychological, you were a head shrinker, and otherwise you were a nose counter, namely a surveyor. You surveyed people, you found out what percentage of people were of a certain age, and why did they buy a particular product. Julius Rosenwald was very much behind the formation of the Sears Company, which was an important episode in the development of our retail chains. Lester Wunderman deserves credit as exemplifying the use of direct mail and catalogs, that you can sell more directly. You don't have to be in a store. You can get people to order goods by mail and phone later. David Ogilvy is the exemplar advertising person. Then Stanley Marcus of Neiman Marcus was the fellow who could walk into any retail store and give them 100 suggestions on how to improve the layout, the size of the aisles, and make a difference in the volume of business. Edward Bernays is the father of public relations. in the United States. His name has sort of become obscure, but he really was a very important person. The word propaganda was often used in connection with his work because people thought it was a model to motivate you to feel a certain way about anything, regardless of the standards involved. And then there's Dale Carnegie. In any case, how did marketing get its start? Marketing got its start in sales departments. Every company has a sales group. And the salespeople really want to be in the office of a customer because that's the only way something happens. So they don't want to do a lot of homework. For example, 3 things they didn't want to do. They didn't want to do consumer research in a systematic way because that's taking their time away from selling to customers. Secondly, they would have liked someone else to find leads. Now, a lead means a prospect. In fact, we distinguish between a hot lead, oh boy, he's ready to buy. He even called us to buy, a warm lead, a cold lead, and so on. Someone else should do that for the salespeople so they don't waste their time making calls. And the third thing was someone had to prepare brochures and ads. And the salesman is not skilled, the salesperson isn't skilled at communicating through advertising and brochures. So sales departments added 3 people or hired them from time to time. Later on, it exploded to the day today when we have multinationals running with marketing. In other words, marketing, those 3 people split from sales and became big enough to be its own department. And so some people in the audience here may be a chief marketing officer. The old name was vice president of marketing, but I like the name chief marketing officer because that person now is part of the chief officers, chief information officer, chief financial officer, chief innovation officer, and the status has moved up. Some of you may be brand managers, may have been in your past experience. Category managers, market segment managers, managing distribution channels like retail or wholesale things, a pricing manager, communication manager, database manager, direct marketers, internet people, and so on. So marketing is well established.
दोबारा मिलेंगे, दुआओं में याद रखिएगा।